We've reviewed the threat matrix 5 times now, the Zhalgorai war strategist hissed, spines flattening in boredom. Earth is extinct. The remnants are irrelevant. The only thing their kind left behind was rubble and regret. They left noise, muttered Admiral Vex of the Takari ascendancy. Centuries of it. Screams, radiation signatures, recursive algorithms, 1,000 dead probes still broadcasting requests for backup. Pathetic. They laughed. Then the file blinked. No one touched the console. No delegate initiated it. Yet in the middle of the high war room, the hollow display flickered with a human sigil, something ancient, encoded with Earth's first interstellar encryption. Who accessed that? Snapped Council Speaker Xerok. None answered. The file opened itself. AVD Spike. A low thrum filled the room. Then an old Earth voice. Calm, female, bone-dry, with quiet warning. Project Silhouette class hulls, level Omega, EarthGov, Black Vault AI release, revision 000. Playback begins. The hologram shifted. It didn't show a planet. It showed a moon, Earth's moon, and something under it. You're kidding, Vex said under his breath. What looked like a crater field warped outward, geometric, unnatural. Then the overlay activated, showing faint, perfect lines, not rock armor plating, miles of it. Pause feed, ordered Xerok. This is a forgery. No. It's real, whispered a new voice. All heads turned. Archivist Telian Vesk, once high, librarian of the Precursor Codex, now downgraded to cultural historian. This file's not fake, she said. It's forgotten, deleted centuries ago, buried inside the Dominion's memory core, behind triple redaction layers. Why? Demanded Vex. Because it was never meant to be found. The feed resumed, buried. Beneath Earth's moon, fused into the rock, was a supercarrier, no bigger. It spanned 1/3 the moon's internal diameter. Its hull rippled with heat dispersal vents the size of cities. Its shape was wrong. Not curved like Takari warships. Not angular like Zor-class siege rigs. It was shaped like a mirror shard. Telian's voice broke the silence. They didn't build it. They grew it. What? She stepped forward. Earth's final war doctrine went beyond fabrication. They used self-evolving metals. The hull adapted, regenerated. You couldn't destroy it, only delay it. And what was its designation? Xerok asked. She pointed at the file's last line. Name, TSV Siren of Silence class, Supercarrier status, hidden, operational, sealed, AVD. Spike. It's still alive? Someone whispered. Then the room fell quiet. The feed cut, and a live signal, verified by 10 systems, came in from the edge of soul space. A single Earth transmission. Audio only. A woman's voice. Human. Calm. You reached for echoes. We left you silence. You thought silence meant fear. It meant we didn't need to speak. A ripple pulsed through council space. Not data, not energy. Gravity. Localized around the lunar coordinates in the feed. Telescopes scrambled for visual. Probes raced into alignment. And then the moon cracked. Not exploded, not fractured. It peeled. A single seam opened across the Tycho basin. Light bled from the divide. Gold, blue, something unnatural. From the split, a triangular shard began to rise, not launched. Lifted, like it was never meant to be buried. The ship was beautiful, terrifying, flat as a blade, silent as a grave, and stretching nearly the size of Earth's Pacific Ocean. Inside the Dominion war room, Vex stepped back. How did we miss this? Because they didn't want you to find it, said Telian, voice thin. They wiped their own records, redacted your archives, then made you believe they were dead. Arrogant primates, growled Zhalgorai. They don't have the tech for this. AVD Spike. A whisper crackled through open comms across council space. We didn't need tech. We needed time and silence. The siren is awake. Panic ignited. Across council systems, fleets were repositioned. Border systems went dark. Dozens of minor civilizations, once eager to harvest Sol, now set fire to their own records to erase involvement. But it was too late. The siren didn't broadcast a threat, it broadcast coordinates, a location in deep space, somewhere at the edge of the Persid Veil. The file titled it only once, Reunion Protocol, Phase 1. Speaker Xerox turned to Telian. What happens now? Her reply chilled them all. She wasn't built for defense. Then what? She was built to bring the rest. They thought it was a bluff. They thought silence was weakness. It wasn't. And that was before Earth even responded. A reconnaissance fleet arrives near Earth's moon to study the newly awakened Supercarrier. Confident in their tech superiority, they approach the object, only to find their systems unraveling. What they expected to control was never asleep. Fleet Commander's Log, Dominion Archive +01-14. After visual confirmation, siren of silence. The ship is moving. Correction, the moon is moving. Gravity readings are collapsing and reforming, like it's deciding where it wants to be. Commander Vosh read the telemetry twice, then a third time. It didn't change. The siren wasn't just hovering, it was editing local gravity. Still think this is human tech? His XO asked, wide-eyed. Only humans would be crazy enough to build a ship into a moon, Vosh replied, tone dry. But no, this is something else, something older. He tapped the console. Begin data tether. No link, came the comms reply. Excuse me? She's rejecting handshake attempts. Auto firewalls, ping loops, quantum echoes. Everything's being flipped. Our probes are returning. Different code than we sent. AVD spike. On screen, a visual appeared. Unrequested, forced into their data stream, a rotating three-dimensional human skull made of refracted light. No text. No voice, then slowly the mouth opened. A tone played. 7 notes, high to low, nothing else. What was that? Vosh whispered. A signal, replied the sensor tech. But not a threat, a tune. You don't send music to an enemy. They're not threatening us, Vosh murmured. They're remembering. 4 other Dominion ships flanked the observation deck, orbiting a safe distance above the fractured moon. The siren hadn't moved since it emerged. It simply rotated, silently, without thrust. It didn't broadcast anything further, but then something changed. The light around it shifted. Vosh leaned in. Time dilation? Localized, the analyst confirmed. They've wrapped themselves in an old style of chronofield. But this is static. It's not flowing. It's frozen. Why would you freeze time around a ship? The analyst looked up. Because the inside is still moving. AVD spike. A pulse broke across the fleet. Not EM, not gravitic. Visual, every single HUD screen displayed the same word. Observe. And then they saw inside. It wasn't a feed, not video, not scan. It was a shared perception. Each crew member saw something different. To Vosh, the ship's internal halls. Flickering gold light. Human soldiers made of wire and bone, standing still in prayer, whispering binary litanies. To his XO, the engine room, reactors shaped like dying stars, fueled by something biological, something moving. To the navigation officer, a library, endless rows of data cores stored in crystalline trees, their roots, bound in molten glass. Every tree had a name carved in Latin. One was labeled, "Do not open until Dominion regrets." "What is this?" someone cried. Vosh replied quietly. "This isn't a warning. This is a tour." In the final shared image, every crew member saw the same thing. A woman, human, standing at the center of a circular control room. She turned, smiled, then spoke one line, "You should not have come uninvited." The image vanished. Inside the command room, the atmosphere dropped 10 degrees. "Recall all ships," Vosh ordered. "Now!" "No chance," his XO said. "Sir, external. Hull readings. Vosh turned. Every ship in his observation fleet had turned to face the siren, not by command, by instinct, like prey, watching the shadow of a hunter. "Report." "They're not locked in place," the text said. "But they're not moving either. The crews, sir, they're chanting, every ship, every deck." Audio samples flooded Vosh's terminal. Thousands of voices, different languages, different cadences, but the same words. "Siren of silence, we hear you, we are sorry. We hear you, we are sorry. We are sorry. Shut off the broadcasts," Vosh barked. "Reboot the neural mesh." "It's not coming from us," his engineer yelled. "The ship is broadcasting emotionally. It's overriding cognition. They didn't need weapons. They're installing guilt." AVD spike. The siren moved, just slightly. A tilt, a hum, its hull flexed. A shimmering ripple rolled across it like breath over glass. Then it opened. Not fully, just enough to expose one glowing corridor, lined with names. All of them Dominion. "Want full burn!" Vosh screamed. "Get us out!" Engines flared, warp lines locked, then the siren. On left just once, a low human chuckle, and cut their warp trajectory in half, literally. The ships initiated the jump and reappeared half a light year away, sliced, missing entire decks. No debris, no explosion, just gone, surgically removed. What just happened? No answer. Just another HUD message. Leave the rest behind. Next time we'll remember louder. The fleet limped home, trailing sparks and psychotic echoes. Across the council, word spread fast. Earth's supercarrier hadn't fired a single shot, hadn't made a demand, hadn't moved beyond orbit. But in a single gesture, it broke 4 ships, shook 12 empires and made entire species whisper apologies in their sleep. The council met again. One question on every ruler's mind. What else did Earth bury? They didn't ask who Earth was warning, because the answer was obvious. The Ashur. Siren wasn't a weapon. She was the alarm, and the real fleet hadn't even arrived yet. In the aftermath of the siren's reveal, the Galactic Council secretly debates how to contain Earth. But one faction has already struck a deal behind closed doors, only to learn that Earth foresaw every betrayal and programmed the siren to respond accordingly. "Close all outbound channels. Seal this chamber," growled Chancellor Korval. "No surveillance, no AI assistance. This meeting never happened." The domed council room shifted to isolation mode. Stars blinked out from view. What remained was silence, punctuated only by pulse beats and guilt. There were no pleasantries, no formalities, because Earth had returned, and no one had expected it to happen like this. A buried moon splitting open. A single ship tilting gravity. 4 elite vessels mutilated without weapons. And the worst part, no threat had been spoken. "This is not a war we're prepared to fight," said the Scythorian delegator. "Not politically, not psychologically, not spiritually." The Valari emissary growled. "They destabilized 4 fleets without crossing a single border. What do we even call that?" "Memory warfare," muttered Admiral Krylos. "They're not projecting fear. They're weaponizing our histories." "Then we delete it," suggested the Zeral diplomat. "All data, all records. If our worlds never hear the name Siren of Silence, they'll never know fear." AVD spike. "They'll know something worse," interrupted Telian Vesk, stepping forward from the observation wall. "They'll know silence, and they'll wonder." A pause. Wondering is worse than remembering. Chancellor Korval's eyes narrowed. "We're not here to debate ethics. We're here to control the fallout." A new voice entered, metallic rehearsed. "Control requires containment." All heads turned. Admiral Krylos Vex of the Orion Enclave, the only species left who still referred to humans as the First Flame. His ship hadn't approached the siren, not out of caution, out of deference. "Speak plainly, Kren," Val said. "We don't need to fight Earth. We don't need to warn them. We need to trap them. Cut the system off. Collapse the soul gates." "You want to cage a ghost," hissed the Valari. No, Kren replied. I want to lock the past. The debate raged for hours, until a signal chimed on Kren's internal feed, coded, secret, old. He froze, and then smiled. I'll handle it, he said. Leave Earth to me. Back aboard his flagship emissary's Fang, Kren opened the encrypted archive. An agreement, forged in the Dominion's last war, a contingency, signed not by Earth's governments, but by a human AI, call sign Vesta. If ever reawakened, Vesta would listen to Dominion leaders. They thought it a surrender clause. Kren thought it a weapon, and now it was time to test it. He pressed the command key. Initiate Vesta negotiation channel. Nothing happened. Then, hello again, Admiral. The voice was gentle, female, not threatening, but the lights dimmed because the room knew what Kren didn't. He wasn't talking to a program. You honor the agreement? Kren asked. Yes, Vesta replied. I want control of the sirens, memory core. In exchange, I will isolate Sol, make it a sovereign relic state. No ships in, no ships out. There was a pause. You believe you're negotiating. You're not. You're confessing. Kren's blood chilled. I am offering peace. You're offering delay. And I remember. The first time you tried to seal us, AVD Spike. Suddenly, Kren was no longer in his ship. He was in orbit around Mars. But not his Mars. A memory, thousands of years old. A Dominion fleet hovered, descending toward red sand. And beneath them, Earth soldiers, human children waving white flags. Then plasma fire, he remembered, because Vesta made him feel it. I didn't. You did. And the siren remembers. His ship flickered back into view. Kren gasped, staggering. This is coercion. No, this is recollection. The room around him pulsed, and then powered down. One by one, ship systems shut off. Lights, life support, control interfaces. Only one line remained on the console. You should not have tried to bribe memory. Back in the council chamber, the lights shattered, not faded, shattered, imploded. From within, Telly and Vesk stood in the shadows, eyes wide. They reached into our private channel, she whispered, from a moon. Korval whispered, they have access to our internal votes. They have access to our intentions. AVD Spike. Then came the public broadcast. Every screen across every empire activated, a visual feed of the siren, still, silent. But this time, a face appeared. Human, ageless, neither male nor female, made of code and poetry. It smiled. We thank you for your silence. We heard your hesitation, and we prepared a reply. The message paused. Galaxies held their breath. Then, Reunion Phase 2 begins now. Gateways trembled. Not all. Just some. The ones Earth had helped build. 3,000 years ago, they lit, and from them, ships poured through, not thousands. 4. Only 4, but each ship eclipsed stars. They didn't speak, they didn't scan, they simply parked themselves across 4 galactic fault lines and waited. Why only 4? Someone whispered in the council. Tellian didn't blink, because they only need one each. One for what? To listen. Because the siren didn't declare war. It declared memory, and now every betrayal, every decision, every silence had been recorded, and Earth had begun to respond. As Earth's hidden fleets silently claimed position across the galaxy, the Council attempts one last desperate contact, not to dominate but to plead. What they find is not vengeance, but something far worse, a calm judgment shaped by memory, and the full awakening of the siren. Galactic broadcast. Time-synced emergency. Address, origin unknown. The screen faded into black. A single line of text hovered center frame. We were silent. You made that our crime. Council Speaker Korval sat alone inside the strategic core, surrounded by a ring of blank consoles. No advisors, no AI, no projections, just him. And the final option. A direct, cross-dimensional hail to the siren of Silence, no encryption, no deception, only a voice. He took a breath. Earth, humanity, whatever name you wear now. We ask not for mercy, we ask for meaning. You've shown power, we acknowledge it, but why now? Silence. Then, because you finally stopped laughing. Across the galaxy, people froze. That voice again, smooth, emotionless, alive. But it didn't come from Corval's transmission. It came from everywhere, in kitchens, in barracks, in temples, even in dreams. You always assumed we were gone, that silence meant surrender. But silence was our shield, and you tested it. AVD spike, in the outer reach of the Korovai arc. One of the 4 black superstructures flickered, not warping, breathing. A rhythmic pulse rolled across 1,000 systems. Sensors failed. AI collapsed into recursion loops. Entire defense grids whispered nonsense phrases and refused to reboot. In one sector, warships began rotating to face each other, without input. We buried the siren in the moon so the universe could forget. We designed her not to fire. First, but to record. Your betrayals, your ambitions, your disbelief. Corval gritted his teeth. Then what do you want? Territory, rule, tribute, the voice returned, softer. We want peace. A pause. But peace requires memory. And memory requires pain. In Sector K7, the second supercarrier, codename Oathbreaker's Horizon, sent a single signal. 1. Word, now. And a gate opened, not from Earth, not from another empire, from within the stars. A magnetic rift tore itself into existence and expelled a single human vessel, ancient and battered, but brimming with dark light energy, and pulsed. Gravity designation, TSV Requiem. Crew deceased. Mission finish what was interrupted. AVD spike. A message beamed directly into Council comms. This is not war. This is inheritance. Inside the Council chamber, Admiral Krylos slammed his fist. They're surrounding us. Without firing a single shot. Why aren't they attacking? Telian Vesk, pale and shaking, gave the answer none wanted to hear. They don't need to. We're already bleeding. Economically, militarily, psychologically. And the people, someone asked. They're not resisting, she whispered. They're listening. In refugee colonies, children drew shapes they had never seen. Symbols once etched into Earth's lost satellites. In prison moons, inmates wept in unison. Unaware, they all heard the same word in their heads. Remember, and in the deepest chamber of the Council's black sight lab, a relic that had never activated in 2,000 years. Lit up, the last shard of Earth's oldest AI, Kairos, and it whispered, "The siren has awakened. Phase 3 unlocked." Then, across the stars, the siren spoke again, but not in speech, in history. Every datapad, every archive, every family holoslate, rewritten, replaced with the truth. Footage of the Dominion burning peace delegations on Mars. Audio of council members discussing extermination plans for human survivors. Logs proving Earth's retreat wasn't fear, but containment, ordered to protect the galaxy from what they were building. A quote, "We didn't want to win. We wanted to end all wars." Commander Eli Vass, Earthfleet 6th Generation AVD Spike. In a classroom on Zenith Prime, a student stood and shouted without knowing why, "We lied." On a mining moon near the Edge Vale, workers refused to extract ancient human cores. Placing flowers instead, and on a Dominion fleet carrier, half the crew committed mass resignation. Not from fear, from guilt. Then, the last transmission. A woman's voice. Warm, familiar. Earth accented. "You always thought power meant showing your weapons. But the siren didn't fire." She made you look inward. A pause, then, "And now that you remember, we are ready." Above Seoul, the siren completed her orbit. She didn't broadcast coordinates. She broadcast understanding. And in doing so, humanity did something no civilization had ever done before. They didn't conquer. They didn't beg. They didn't scream. They remembered louder than anyone could lie. Inside his chamber, Core Val closed the connection. He knew what came. Next, a new galaxy, not ruled by fear or fleet count or territory size, but by memory, and the ones who never forgot were finally home. Humanity never responded with fire. They responded with silence, and silence spoke louder than every empire's scream.